If there's one place in the world where you can feel the serenity and sweetness of life, it's right here in Bali, one of the world's leading tourist destinations. During the high season, the population grows from 6 to 10 million people.
The temples is also beautiful. It is astonishing.
It's a beautiful view and food, of course.
But there's one side of Bali that tourists don't appreciate so much.
A lot of plastic actually in the sea and around as well.
In the streets also. Seeing something like this is, it's a shame.
Bali is being smothered by rubbish. On the beaches, along the streets, in water streams, everywhere there are illegal dumps because the collection and recycling systems are almost non-existent. South of Denpasar, the capital, this mangrove forest used to be a tourist attraction. However, it has been closed to the public for several months. The municipality is no longer able to manage the accumulating waste. One family here in Bali has made it their mission to clean up the beaches and rivers instead of the authorities. They're French. Gary and Kelly are siblings. Their parents fell in love with the island in the early 2000s and settled here.
Donc ça fait plus de 20 ans qu'on habite à Bali. Donc on est plus balinais maintenant que français. On a grandi sur cette île. C'est notre île adoptive. Et donc depuis, on veut que la protéger.
On y va?
They've created an organization called Sunai Watch that looks after the river.
Belumada? Oh, chou, chou, chou.
C'est ça.
Ce n'est pas le Bali des cartes postales. Ça, c'est le vrai Bali, le Bali qu'on ne voit pas sur Instagram.
With their teams, they have set up around 200 floating barriers like this one to hold back rubbish coming from the capital.
Donc là, c'est vraiment la dernière barrière qu'on a entre la ville et l'océan. Donc c'est un peu le dernier espoir d'arrêter tous ces déchets. Et c'est pour ça qu'on nettoie ça tous les jours.
The heat is exhausting and the smell foul, but Gary and Kelly keep going.
Donc là, c'est les intestins d'un poulet. Donc là, j'avoue que c'est jamais une partie de plaisir. Donc ça, on va récupérer.
They sort through the rubbish to pick out plastics. The number of them in Bali is ever growing, and they are often very difficult to recycle.
Aujourd'hui, on trouve énormément de polystyrène, de styrofoam. Et en plus, là, aujourd'hui, c'est assez rare qu'on trouve ça, mais on trouve plein de petites billes. Donc ça, pour nous, c'est presque impossible de récolter. On trouve vraiment de tout, comme des chaussures, tout ce qui est sauce, les ketchup, les mayonnaises, des petits snacks. Mais sinon, c'est beaucoup de sachets comme ça. Et là, il y a encore la nourriture. Et après, ce qu'on trouve vraiment le plus, c'est les gobelets à usage unique. Donc ça, c'est des gobelets pour l'eau potable. C'est une marque française, donc c'est Danone, avec 3 types de plastique différents, dont cette paille qui maintenant est plus ou moins interdite.
On ne peut vraiment pas continuer à nettoyer ces rivières pendant des années et des années.
Et ça sent vraiment particulièrement mauvais.
In 2 hours, the Sunai Watch teams managed to collect 200 kilograms of plastic. And over 1,700 tons in the last 3 years. A great amount of waste that won't end up in the sea. But Gary and Kelly are aware that this is just a drop in the ocean. Indonesia is the world's second biggest contributor to plastic pollution of the oceans, just after China. Indonesia, the world's largest archipelago, consisting of 13,667 islands, a country stretching over 5,000 kilometers. One of the most beautiful places on the planet, with 126 volcanoes, incredible beaches, lush rice paddies and virgin forests. The world's 4th most populous country, with 275 million inhabitants, but also one of the most polluted. Indonesia is the 10th most powerful country in the world, a land with an incredibly rich subsoil and boundless ambition. As the capital, Jakarta, is gradually disappearing under the sea, the government has simply decided to move it to the middle of a forest.
Bukan hanya simbol identitas bangsa, ini demi visi Indonesia maju.
The Indonesian president wants to make his country one of the world's leading powers. However, this forced industrialization comes at a price, destroying nature and evicting local people.
Ngamuk kayo, yung ngamuk malah. May ngamuk.
All over the archipelago, people are standing up to protect their country at all costs. Daru, a mother in Java, is fighting against plastic pollution. The country produces more than 3 million tons of plastic every year.
We really want to stop this plastic tsunami.
In Borneo, Basuki is trying to save orangutans from imminent extinction.
I think that no future for orangutan in this tiny forest.
The economic heart of Indonesia is on the island of Java. It's a beehive with more than 1,000 inhabitants per square kilometre. Java is also the most industrialised of the islands. There are factories as far as the eye can see. Like here, the east of the country. In the village of Tropodo, these chimneys belch ominous black fumes into the atmosphere all day long, releasing invisible particles, microplastics.
Lagi? Satu apa dua? Terima kasih.
50-year-old Daru is an activist feared in Indonesia. When she goes to the market, she doesn't shop like everyone else.
Mau beli tahu?
She's always very careful about what she buys.
Penuhin dapat berapa? Tofu here, it's favorite food for Indonesian people. It's good food because it's high protein, so it's healthy food if the process is also clean and safe. Makasih ya, Bu.
Daru also checks where the eggs come from.
Taruh sini aja. 10. Oke. Mana sih? Bu, di sana ada jual ikan nggak? Iya, terus. Ada ya?
She's also suspicious of all seafood.
Nanti kotorannya ditaruh di plastik ya. Saya bawa pulang juga kotorannya. It's a shame because our life has been flooded with plastic everywhere, in the water, in the air, in the soil. Even the unborn baby, they already contain microplastic inside the belly of the mother. So we need to check whether in our food is already contaminated with plastic or not. Yeah.
When she returns home to her house by the river, Daru doesn't go straight to the kitchen, but to a private laboratory she has set up on the ground floor of her house.
Nah, baru ditimbang tahunya dituang situ.
She takes 10 grams of tofu to check what it contains.
Cucinya pakai aquadespi, bukan pakai air keran. Asam dulu.
Daru and her husband run the Ecoton organization, which fights against plastic pollution. In 2011, they received an award from US President Obama in recognition of their environmental work.
Ayo, 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 ayo. Kita ambil sampel.
After a few hours, the results of the tofu analysis are ready. Daru wants to show them to her 3 daughters and her husband, because they are startling.
This particle of microplastic we found in the tofu. It's shocking, and the size here is very small. 1 square is 1 millimeter. So this particle here, the length is 1 millimeter.
In the 10 grams of tofu analyzed, Daru found no fewer than 18 plastic fibers, as big as this one. Microplastics cause health problems such as miscarriages and breathing difficulties.
Also find this particle inside our lab.
But how can plastic particles end up in tofu? Daru has an explanation.
Assalamualaikum.
Underneath her quiet exterior, Daru is a very influential person.
Saya mau lihat-lihat ke tahu ya, Pak ya.
She has managed to build relationships with certain factory owners, in particular the tofu production sites, whose chimneys are poisoning the air in the surrounding area. She wants to force them to change their production processes.
Belum, Mbak. Ayo yang dari apa?
The raw material is this soya bean, from which they extract milk. In this workshop, which looks like it's from a different era, 20 or so workers work all day for €6. The air is barely breathable. It's over 40 degrees. What interests Daru most here is the tofu cooking process.
Udah habis, Bu ya? Udah habis gini nggak ditambah ya?
Since wood has become too expensive, they use plastic waste as fuel.
Ini masak tahu. Itu ada pakai plastik.
€10 worth of plastic is enough to fuel the factory for a whole day.
It should not be here. Actually, it's not allowed to be sending here. But a tofu maker need fuel, cheap fuel, so it's still.
The microplastic particles released by the combustion have mixed with the soya paste, and the air is full of them.
Bu, Ibu nggak sakit batuk gitu, Bu, dekat-dekat banyak asap gini, Bu. Saya rasanya leher itu udah kayak apa, kering gitu loh, Bu, di sini. Nggak biasa, Bu ya.
All the tofu productions in the region use plastic as fuel. Daru wants to convince the manager of this one to burn coconuts instead, because they don't pollute.
Enggak, misalnya ada perbedaan kalau pakai plastik sama batok lebih hitam mana gitu asapnya. Lebih hitam. Lebih putih batok. Oh. Sama sekali nggak pakai plastik.
In the ashes of one of the ovens, we caught a glimpse of a French ham packaging. Here on the right-hand side with the red label, but what is this French charcuterie packaging doing in a tofu production deep in Indonesia? The answer lies here. We're at an illegal landfill. There are many in East Java. This one is filled with nothing but plastic from all over the planet.
This one from Italia. This one looks like it's from France. Here this looks like from France in the Lidl supermarket. This one is big. See? It's from Belgium. Belgium.
Europe, South Korea, Australia, Canada. Plastics from all over the world have been transported thousands of kilometers before ending up here.
Why do these countries send the plastic waste in Indonesia? Why don't they keep it?
Plastic is very difficult to be recycled, to be treated. It's too expensive.
That these countries save much money sending the trash in
Yeah.
Indonesia?
It's like a new colonialism because they don't want to manage their own waste in their home country, and it's easier to just ship this trash to developing country.
Before, the major powers used to sell their 7 million tons of non-recyclable waste every year to China. But in 2018, the country accused of polluting the oceans finally closed its doors. Exporters then turned to neighboring Philippines, Malaysia, and Indonesia. In 2019, the Jakarta authorities also decided that they no longer wanted to be the world's landfill. They sent 150 containers of waste back to many countries. Today, the import of plastic waste to Indonesia is banned. However, exporters have managed to get round the problem. Daru takes us to the port of Surabaya, where the plastics arrive.
Yeah, we have customs in the Surabaya Tanjung Perak port, but you know, there are millions of containers come every year, so our government don't have enough capacity to check every single container, so they only can check a sample.
According to Daru, plastic waste enters the country concealed in containers that deliver recycled paper to cardboard factories.
This container can also become a vehicle that will bring plastic scrap inside the paper mills. The paper mills import about 3 million tons of paper waste, yeah.
Daru has done some calculations. She reckons that the containers hold 10% of illegal waste and that 300,000 tons of recycled plastic are smuggled each year via the cardboard factories. There are over 50 of them in the region, and their doors have always been closed. After days of negotiations, Daru has managed to convince the manager of a factory to let us in. She doesn't want to be filmed, but the camera keeps rolling. The manager agrees to show us the product.
We come from Bali, we make a tour. This is good for us. This is clean, right? We still can use as a raw material. Would you allow us to film the factory? If the factory we cannot do, because the factory actually is very confidential.
The only thing the manager will allow us to film is what she calls the raw material. Hundreds of bales of used paper from all over the world stored in the open air. It's the assistant manager who shows us around.
This is the waste paper, the raw material for making paper. So we recycle all the waste paper and produce it back to paper.
Okay. So inside?
Inside is all paper.
Okay, look. Here there is plastic. It's not so clean.
Very little.
There is plastic bag. There. What is it? This is paper, plastic. Yeah. This is plastic.
Has the plastic been deliberately hidden by exporters among the recycled paper? Or is it the result of sorting errors? According to the assistant manager, it depends on the country of origin.
You bulk paper and you find plastic. It's not fair.
Yeah, it's neither work for us to solve. It's neither work for us to solve. If they put plastic in here.
You have to do the job.
Yeah, we have to do the job.
And it's difficult.
Yeah.
Oh.
The assistant manager assures us that the factory burns all the plastics after sorting them. Before we leave, he tells us that other factories have less scruples. It's their plastics that end up in landfill sites or in tofu factories. Plastic pollution is not Indonesia's only scourge. It is the second largest megalopolis in the world, with 30 million inhabitants. That is 10 times more than in the 50s. The capital has become almost unlivable. There's too much noise, too many traffic jams, and too much pollution. However, Jakarta's main issue is that it's sinking inexorably. Lenz is a restaurant owner.
It's just, okay, so this is our barrier system. Last time the water came in about this deep. This rubber needs to be replaced, but...
He doesn't know anymore how to protect himself against the flooding. During the rainy season, the water level can rise at an incredible speed, just like in 2020.
We were having a big party, live music, maybe 400 people inside. We had done the countdown, but it started raining harder and harder. The music was on and people were still partying, and I was worried it would get worse, and it did get worse. The street flooded and flooded and flooded, so we had to tell people to start leaving. So the water was coming in as people were leaving. We were completely flooded. Yeah.
The whole city was affected. In another restaurant in Jakarta, the floods brought in an unwanted customer. This huge python. That year, the floods killed nearly 70 people. The reason the water level rose so quickly is because of Jakarta's location. 1/3 of the city's surface is below sea level. Some districts are sinking by up to 25 centimeters a year. Those most responsible for this disaster are the residents themselves. We are at Victor Konen's house, a Dutchman. One of the world's leading specialists in water engineering, he's worked for the city of Jakarta for 10 years.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons Jakarta is sinking. Basically, the only way we can get our water is by pumping it from the ground. This is the pipeline that goes into the ground. We have a 60-meter deep well, and we pump it up, and then it goes through all kinds of filters, and then all the way up into the storage tank, and then it's fed into the house.
Victor's 2,000-litre tank allows him to drink, but also to fill his swimming pool, like most of his neighbours. Factories, hotels, shopping centres. Everyone is extracting water from the collapsing water table below. This, together with the weight of countless high-rise buildings, is crushing the city. For 10 years, Victor has been trying to find a solution to the problem. Jakarta authorities have contacted him to help them build a wall to protect the city, a 13-kilometer long dike that is constantly under construction.
what we see here are the various levels of elevating the seawall. So this one was in the 1980s, the 90s, somewhere in 2010, 11, 2015. So because the city is sinking, every time they need to raise the seawall to keep the city dry.
Victor comes regularly, as he did today, to check on the state of the dike. He's a bit worried because it's leaking.
The pressure is so high, it's pushing seawater through the dike. And they do repair it every once in a while, so they close it off. And then in another area, water emerges.
A few hundred meters away is a district known as the Aquarium. It's earned its name because the people who reside here live 4 meters below sea level. They have also noticed leaks at the foot of their wall.
Oh, saya dari kecil, cerot di sini asli sini. Jakarta Utara. Jangan tsunami aja ya. Jauh.
Nearby, another dike is still under construction.
Well, one of the problems of water fighting against floods, it never ends. So basically, if you want to end it, you have to leave the city. And it's actually, it is a strategy, and it's called managed retreat.
The Indonesian president has already decided to leave. In 2019, he has taken a decision that is as surprising as it is radical: to move the administrative capital to Borneo, 1,300 kilometers away. Right in the middle of one of the most beautiful forests in the world. It'll be called Nusantara, which means archipelago in Indonesian.
Bukan hanya simbol identitas bangsa, tetapi juga representasi kemajuan bangsa. Ini demi visi Indonesia maju.
Here is the president's megalomaniac project in 3D, a high-tech city, completely futuristic, where inhabitants will travel only by electric car, on foot or by bicycle. Two million people, mainly civil servants as Nusantara, will be home to the ministries and, above all, this grand presidential palace. And here it is in the middle of construction. The area is off limits. It's impossible to get any closer. The project will cover 2,500 hectares, 20 times the size of Paris. The budget will exceed 30 billion euros. Local activists are denouncing the project as an ecological aberration because in order to build its zero-emission capital, the government has had to clear hundreds of hectares of forest and build gigantic reservoirs, such as this one, to supply the capital with water. Mr. Pandi and his wife, who live in the next village, Sepaku, are angry. To build the reservoir, the government cut off the river that runs behind their home. Since then, it has become a marsh of stagnant water. Mrs. Pandi no longer dares to use the water.
Ini dari sungai. Sungai yang sekarang mungkin sungai kami ini ya begini warnanya airnya. Sekarang air kami sudah begini. Kemarin kami air itu untuk pakai minum, dimasak dulu airnya untuk pakai minum, masak.
Mr. and Mrs. Pandi belong to one of the oldest tribes in Borneo, the Bali. They have lived here for several generations, but have no documents to prove it. To enlarge the reservoir, the government has decided to evict them, along with other families.
Kalau ini memang milik saya, rumah sendiri. Kalau untuk tanah, saya punya tanah warisan. Kalau untuk beli, saya tidak pernah beli tanah. Karena begini, Masa sih aneh, kita yang punya kampung, kita yang punya tanah, kita harus beli tanah. Tapi ya kebanyakan justru orang yang punya kampung, orang yang punya tanah.
This morning, Mrs. and Mr. Pandey put on their best attire. They have an important meeting for the future of the village and their home. A member of parliament from the capital has agreed to meet them and other residents of Sipaku in the municipal hall of the neighboring town. This is the first time that a representative of the authorities has come to listen to what they have to say.
Yang ada di Sipaku yang saya hormati, forum masyarakat Sipaku yang saya hormati, perempuan adat.
Mrs. Pandey is one of the first to speak. She asked the MP to guarantee in writing that the residents would not be evicted.
Yang meminta lokasi itu digusur. Tidak ada sebab. Lalu terus untuk apa saya bikin surat?
Mungkin mau jelas Pak.
Udah, ini bilang tahu udah ngomong ini. Mau saya bangunkan jalan setelah jembatan itu sampai ke atas tuh.
Mr. Pandey is not very keen on trusting politicians. After the MP left, he spoke his mind.
Kalau untuk saya ini hanya sebagai apa ya, seperti anak-anak diberi bonbon untuk hanya menenangkan. Kalau artinya untuk apa yang menyenangkan saya belum.
The new capital of Nusantara is due to officially open in August 2024. Mr. and Mrs. Pandey don't know what will be left of their village or forest and whether they will have a roof over their heads. The Indonesian forest is the planet's third biggest lung after the Amazon and the Congo. 92 million hectares of 1,000-year-old trees, half of which has already disappeared. Palm oil producers are to blame. They burn down the forest to plant palm trees. In Borneo, one man has made it his mission to save the trees. To meet him, we had to travel dozens of kilometers by plane, boat, and motorbike. When we met Basuki Budi Santoso, he was very busy. He works for a foundation that replants trees where they have been cut down.
How many trees did you plant in your life?
I forget, but there's so much. 1 million, maybe more. I have many children in many places.
In Borneo, with his right-hand man Adut, Basuki not only looks after the trees, but also their inhabitants. The so-called people of the forest, the orangutan. 80% of them have disappeared over the last century. There are now less than 100,000 left. Those living in national reserves are protected. The others are in danger of dying out.
People said that we still have so much orangutan, but orangutan really unprotected, and many of them already dead. So especially in this area, nobody care with orangutan here.
Basuki is trying to protect the orangutans, but for years he has been up against a very powerful enemy. Indonesia is the world leader in palm oil production, producing 30 million tons every year. It is used in the food industry and in the biofuels that power our cars.
So that's the palm oil canal, about 1 kilometer from here.
In Borneo, palm tree fields have replaced the forest. Millions of hectares, as far as the eye can see. On the right bank of the Sekonya River, all that's left is a 400-meter strip of forest.
Of course, because not enough habitat for orangutans, not enough food. Okay, guys, we are ready.
Driven by hunger, the orangutans have moved closer to the palm tree fields to the point of putting themselves in danger.
This is palm oil fruit. This make oil. Orangutan come to this area for survive, for get the food. And they also eat the young leaf of the plantation. Company think that orangutan is the enemy.
In 2012, plantation workers contacted Basuki to warn him that a massacre was underway.
We got information that almost 200 orangutan killed around here. 3 months I try collect information, I talking with many local people and we check. And yes, conflict that the orangutan.
Basuki informed local journalists and they recorded this footage at the time.
Ini kira-kira berapa bulan ini? Apanya? Umur ketanam. Oh, ini udah hampir 1-2 tahun. Ada bunyi pinggul. Pinggul Allah.
There's never been an investigation into the death of these orangutans.
But 100% I believe that this company activities, not the local people. They just get the benefit, they take the land, they destroy the forest, they kill the orangutan. I'm so angry. That first time my feeling. I'm really angry.
There are only a few dozen orangutans left along the river.
Apa kabar, Bang?
It's very rare to see them in the wild.
There is the proboscis monkey sound. You know, proboscis monkey, with their long nose. Jadi bekantan ini sangat unik ya. Itu binatang yang endemik sini.
Basuki and Adut have already seen several proboscis monkeys, but still no orangutans. Suddenly, Basuki's sharp eye spots movement in the trees.
The orangutan about 10 years old, yeah, and female. And local people call this orangutan buku. It's the size of orangutan small. The orangutan is the pandanus leaf, the young leaf of pandanus. Mean that not enough food, because usually orangutan not eat the pandanus. So orangutan move to the river for eat the young leaf of pandanus. It's also too danger for orangutan to river, because this river also habitat for crocodile. In many cases, orangutan also attacked by crocodile.
The orangutan wilds, when they see the humans around them, they will be gone.
It's like call, yeah. That's the warning if the orangutan usually make the sound like that. Marah ya, ya? Gimana?
The encounter only lasted a few minutes. The female orangutan never appeared again.
Wow.
Basuki and Adut know of a place in Borneo where orangutans are not frightened by the approach of humans. Tanjung Puting is one of the largest national parks on the island. It's one of the few places where orangutans are protected. Every day at 3 p.m, they meet tourists from all over the world. On this wooden platform, the rangers have placed 40 kilos of fruit, mangoes, sweet potatoes, and a local fruit, durian.
You saw the fruit is always in mouths, always in hands. Mungkin kalau seperti manusia ya, mereka ngobrol, Mbak. Mereka lucu, ngobrol kadang-kadang mereka menggigit satu sama lain, tapi dengan gigit bercanda gitu.
The DNA of these great apes is 97% similar to that of humans. Their brains resemble those of a 3-year-old child. Basuki didn't come with us to the national park. He sees it as a zoo. He believes that in order to survive, the orangutans must learn to live not with humans, but away from them. There are many people in Indonesia, like Basuki, who have decided to fight to preserve their land and its inhabitants. In the far east of Indonesia, in the Moluccas archipelago, lies the island of Halmahera. Here life has become complicated for the inhabitants. Every day for the past 45 years, Mr. Tobel has gotten up at dawn to fish for food for his family. But no matter how hard he pulls on his line now, he can hardly catch any fish.
Kalau dulu tuh cepat saya suruh pulang. Sekarang ini susah suruh cari ikan.
Kalau mengail ke bawah di daerah situ, setara bisa ya?
Ke bawah di situ apa?
Today, a young man from the village is accompanying him. Adlan, a local activist, is worried about the deteriorating environment on the shores where he was born.
Limbah dari darat hitam sekali ya.
Limbah
apa? Batu bara di bawah.
Oh, dijaga keluar?
Ya, keluar kalau dibagi dia masing ini. Kalau kita lihat sana di lautan sini, tanah begini panas.
Kan PLTU kan dia menggunakan air laut sebagai apa? Pendingin toh? Pendingin boleh kasih keluar ulang tuh. Jadi memang perairan di situ agak sedikit panas kalau celup tangan.
Di sana tuh ikan kalau apa mati ikan. Di pas di apa?
The one responsible for the pollution is a French-Chinese company that has been operating here since 2000. It's called Weda Bay. This huge 46,000-hectare industrial park produces Indonesia's new white gold, nickel.
Tepat di belakang kita ini kawasan industri iwip, di mana ini terintegrasi semua, ada smelter, kemudian PLTU sebagai power plant, dan ini adalah pelabuhan ekspor mereka, di mana nikel-nikel setengah jadi yang kita lihat di belakang itu dimuat di kapal-kapal besar itu kemudian di bawah. Tumpukannya di sana, tanah itu. Yang tumpukan itu putih-putih itu.
Here it's called the devil's metal. It's used to make batteries for electric cars. It's the fuel of the future. Indonesia has 20% of the world's nickel reserves, and it produces 700,000 tons a year. Mr. Tobel knows that it is forbidden to get any closer.
Pulang, cepetan.
He spotted a police speedboat and prefers to keep his distance. Here, it's a sensitive subject. In Indonesia, the government has put its faith in the nickel industry. In Halmahera, as in many islands in the east of the country, it has granted numerous mining permits. A 9-hour drive away with their magnificent virgin forest are the Watu-Watu Mountains. In the middle of the lush jungle, the surface of the earth has been scarred. another nickel mine that belongs to the French-Chinese company. In recent years, it has cut down thousands of hectares of forest. For centuries, the Watu Mountains have been the domain of one of the most remote tribes in the world, the Togutil. Today, the expansion of the nickel mines is threatening their survival. Rents, Regal and Bibi are members of the Togutil tribe that have settled down. Today, they have decided to visit their nomadic cousins to come to their aid. They know they don't have much left to eat.
Ini kami sediakan beras untuk saudara-saudara kami suku Togutil Habeba. Telur juga yang kami akan memberikan ke mereka maupun kami memberikan kepada mereka masih banyak. Dan kami akan menyerahkan kepada mereka sebentar nanti, besok dan seterusnya.
At 45, Bibi, the only woman in the group, is setting off on the first expedition of her life.
Saudara, memang itu kalau yang saudara di sana kau kenal, berarti saudara itu yang keluar.
Bibi's husband, Regal, was born here.
Ya di hutan, bermain di hutan sama saya punya suku Tobelo boy. Saya tahu karena saya tahu juga orang tua saya cerita ada keluarga suku Togutil boy.
This road was made in the middle of the jungle by the company that operates the nickel mine. Those who don't work there are not allowed to use it, neither by car nor motorbike. To reach his cousins in the tribe, Regal and his friends have to make the journey on foot. 32 kilometers under a blazing sun. As night fell, Bibi decided to stop and cook for her husband. With a few pieces of wood, they made a fire, here in the middle of nowhere. In Indonesia, the shortest walk in the forest is always full of surprises. It's 9 p.m. and the last of the mine workers are leaving. 200 meters further on, an unusual sight. The car has to stop to let this royal python pass. Bibi and her friends climbed into the car. The driver agreed to take them to the mine.
Jangan turun dulu.
Regal and his companions will spend the night in this tiny caretaker's hut, just a few meters from the mine trucks. At the first light of dawn, Regal is ready to set off again. He has a bad feeling. The last time he came to see his family 3 weeks ago, the tribe was living close by to a river. But now there's no one there and the water stream has been cut off.
Orang sudah lihat ini untuk perusahaan merusak semua sumber air mereka tidak bisa pakai. Jadi mereka sudah kemana kami cari juga tidak dapat sampai mereka tinggal di mana kami tidak tahu. Mereka itu kami punya saudara. Oh ini suku Togutil Habeba. Ini semuanya. Ini semuanya.
Regal decides to set off again to tell his family the sad news. This branch of the Togutil tribe lives at the foot of Watu Mountain. They settled down 3 months ago near this river. There are around 20 of them living here, 5 families of all generations. The Togutil live as they did centuries ago, without telephones, running water or electricity. They have set up camp in an area surrounded by fruit trees.
Inilah mereka lokasi real mereka begitu.
Nya biar to ngomi ho pokoknya nang adi kaga miong kangino nga beredai kami mi hupu-hupua.
At 20, Geraham is one of the tribe's chiefs. He and his family were also driven out of the mountain by a nickel mining company.
Ako miato mingamo memiamo dong kan opuyato polisi jadi gado kami miomo dong mi penjara hoga mi ya ho aku mingamo oh na nata soinoga tanu tato imide.
Memang dia berbahaya karena kamu punya wilayah ini sudah terancam karena semua perusahaan muka belakang itu lewat saja ada yang punya jalan sering marah nggak bisa lewat.
Since our filming, Regal has been looking for his Togutil family. To date, he still hasn't found them.